So I picked up the new camper and I backed it up into the driveway very, very slowly. It's much bigger than what I'm used to backing. And it went okay. I was a little disappointed. I got it home. I had asked the dealer to install the backup camera, but they didn't do it, which I thought would be no big deal because it comes pre-wired for the camera. But I put the camera up there, plugged it in, it didn't work. Plugged the camera into the display and it did work, so there's something wrong with the wiring for the backup camera. So that's why it took so long to get it up here. Then it took a while to get it off the hitch because it just didn't want to let go. And my new Durango, I could see that I needed to back up against the hitch, but it wouldn't let me do it because of that little sensors that say you're getting ready to run into anything, because the car always knows better than I do. Right now it's auto leveling, which is a pretty neat thing. Let's see how it's doing. May have just finished. No, it's still working on the left side. It takes a while, but it's a while that I can be doing other stuff and I don't have to sit and back and forth trying to get it up on the right number of blocks and all that. So the auto level's doing its thing. I'm getting ready to plug into AC from the house, household AC, which is kind of like shore power but a little bit weaker. It's probably only, what is it, 2/3 of what you'd normally get. This guy is wired for 50 amp. And the reason they did that is you can get a second air conditioner up front. We didn't do it. We can always just drop one in. But I was wired for 30 before, so I've had to buy a collection of different converters and everything, and I got it all plugged in. Finally figured out the right magical potion of connectors and adapters and got up inside there, no power, just still DC, and I couldn't figure out what could possibly be wrong because, you know, brand new trailer. I just can't see what could be wrong with it. But I don't think it'll take long to debug this one because there's your problem right there. Should have been there. Okay, it's plugged in the house power. Let's see if we got any AC in here now. It'd be nice if I turn on the AC or a fan or something. Just kind of cool it off in here. It's very... There's the microwave. That means I've got AC. So we can go over here. We can do our slide. Now we're on the in command system. I don't do that anymore. That go away. Set that right there. So the in command system is all brand new to me, and I can do it on my phone at some point. I'm going to close the door here because there's an awful lot of light. Ugh. Shining right on the screen. Okay, so it goes on. Travel lock engaged. Huh, well, okay. What do we got to do to disengage that? Maybe it's as simple as pushing the disengage button. Don't worry about knowing my password because I'm going to change it. Slides and awnings. I want to slide the... Well, I'm going to send the slide out for now because I know I'm clear on that side. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And we slowly gain access to the bedroom, which has its own door, so that's not a big deal. Like we're at a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel or a rest stop and we got to keep the slide in. We'll just have to use both doors. Not a big deal at all. Look at that thing go. It just goes and goes and goes. Look at all the space. All that newfound space. Okay, that's done. Now as far as the awning, let's see how far the awning comes. Pretty far out. That awning is probably going to meet up with the shed at some point. So I'm going to leave the awning in because we don't need it right now. We just flat don't need it. So let's see. Let's go back in here. What do we got going now? So we got the slide out. That's nice. Now I have lots and lots of room. There's our theater seats. And that's part of the Thomas Paine collection, which must mean something to somebody. We also, that was an option. We got rid of I think there was a 2-seat, one of those slide a bed, make a bed, bed things. Everything turns into a bed. And the dinette was the same way, and it was wobbly, and it's not a great bed even when you make it. And I prefer sitting in a chair like an adult. So we got the optional table, which makes this truly what you would call a couples camper. It's just the two of us and the dogs, and there's lots of room for the dogs. So just the two of us watching TV, and we have a full-size king. With the 2019, you get 6 more inches on the bed. It's a full-size residential king. And that thing right there is a window. The shade is closed, but that opens up and it's a nice window outside. And here's that extra door, which makes this, in my opinion, this is the emergency exit, which is just a window. And I gotta say, I'm not going out that window when I've got a big, huge door right there. And lots of storage. We'll talk about all this. We'll do a big walkthrough and as I make sure everything is working. But there's my nice sink. And it's not a whole lot of prep area, but the kind of cooking I'm gonna be doing is casseroles, I mean, I'll buy frozen diced onions instead of standing there slicing an onion. We'll be doing some recipes once we get out on the road. I'll do a few recipes for you. So there's our microwave, and then we got an actual oven and a 3-burner cooktop, and I think that's 8 cubic feet of refrigerator. I can never tell 6 from an 8, but it's bigger than what we had. And a fireplace, which is a good, this is kind of nice because we're going to be traveling this winter. This is the whole point. We're in central Ohio and our winters are dismal. So we'll be taking this thing south. And we got 60 pounds of propane, so it's a lot of propane. But that fireplace is an electric space heater, and it's enough to heat the entire trailer, reportedly. And the reason that's important is propane we bought and brought, so we paid for it, and when it's gone, we pay for more. Electricity comes with the campsite. So, and there's our massive TV, actually nicer than the TV we have inside because it's 4K. I don't have anything currently that can push 4K video to it, but someday. And we have our dome ceilings. This is becoming more common. I saw a dome ceiling a couple years ago and really liked it, and I thought, well, I'm really stuck with the Premier, or the Bullet Premier, but here it is. And they're pretty much in every trailer now. And then huge windows. This is why they stacked everything up against this wall. So there's no real window out to your camping area. And there doesn't need to be. You're going to be out in your camping area. This is on the other side where your services are, but it's lots and lots of windows, and it just opens the thing up and gets plenty of natural light. So I'm quite happy with it. I'm not worried about not being able to see out. There's a window right here if I absolutely have to see out. We can open a door. We've got a screen door right there. We got a window right there. So I'm not worried about it. Range hood, which I don't trust, which is why I was okay to find that we have an outside kitchen. I didn't really care if I had an outside kitchen, but we got one anyway. And it's not like they're going to remove it if I don't want it. It's right here. And it's probably locked right now. I don't know. Oh, it's not. Okay. So there is our little mini fridge. And this is our cooktop, and it's not the Suburban type with the exposed burners. This is a Capital grill, and Capital makes high-end stuff, and it's got this nice stainless steel thingy on it, which will be easy to take out and clean. It's got a drip tray, all kinds of neat stuff, and then a little bit of pantry area there that I doubt if we'd do much with. And realistically, I could pull this out and just make storage out of it if I chose to. It's my camper now, so I'll lock that up. So as you can see, there's just not much along this side, but that's absolutely fine with me. I could not care less. Nice and clean. So there it is, and we'll be talking about this a little bit more in the future. Well, probably a whole lot more in the future. So stay tuned. So we've got the slide out, and we're sitting in my driveway. So this is our panoramic view out of the windows here. A lot of windows on this side, really nice. And then you can see the bedroom window. And we started to move in. Got some soap, hand soap, paper towels. There's a clock now. And I got my DVD player out. I got a Blu-ray movie running. And I got the fireplace running, but it's making no heat. And the air conditioner is on. Very comfortable. It's a 90-some degree day, and the air conditioner did pretty good. Didn't have too much trouble with it. I mean, it cooled off pretty quickly. It's got that dump mode. We left it in dump mode when we were working out here in this room, moving stuff in and out. But now it's cooled out through the entire trailer. I've closed it up, and now it's going in both the bedroom and here. So this is looking like a good part of the movie, so we're going to cut this short. There it is. What do you think? What do you think of this? Oh, look. Oh, careful. Get off of me. Get out. You're climbing on me. What are you doing? Get out. Get out. Cassie has joined us. She's come out from the house, and we've got a blanket on the chair. We're going to have to get some covers for these chairs because they're going to get up on here when they're alone and we're not here to keep them off. So we're going to have to get something so they don't get all dog hairy and everything. Cassie. That's a girl. What do you think? What do you think about this? No more boarding. You get to come with us now. Oh, okay, well, she sees that as a mixed blessing.
No reports Broadway.
Yeah, we're fully settled in now. It didn't take long. That's our first morning in the driveway. Still, we won't go anywhere for a while yet. Here's a quick walkthrough. So we have two doors. This is what we call the back door. This is towards the back of the trailer. And this is actually laid out very much like our RPod 180 was. We had the door, we had a little cupboard, we had a bathroom. The kitchen would have been there, instead it's over here, and then the bed in front. So we're kind of used to this layout. There's another door up here. I think I mentioned this yesterday. There's that door right there. What we have on order, should arrive today, is a couple of, actually it shows better up here. The light, last night when the sun was setting, these windows were like torches, just really, really, really bright. So I've got some Velcro reflector type stuff that we'll put on that, cut out some of that light when we don't want it. So, okay, so back here we have a big bathroom. It's much bigger than the bathroom we had. Probably not the biggest in the industry, but much more than we had, and not a shower curtain. I hated shower curtain. So this has these nice glass doors. And then the sink is right where it was in our other one. And the toilet's right where it was in the other one, although I think it was more 90 degree. And again, $30,000, you don't get a toilet paper holder. But even if you did, it'd probably be a chintzy plastic thing. I'm gonna go get a chintzy plastic thing that at least looks like that kind of brushed satin look, and we'll get a roll of toilet paper in here at some point. So that's that. And now here's why we call it a sleeps 2. You can sleep on these things, they're recliners, but they don't count them as sleepable for some reason. So we're sleeps 2. Sat there last night. My dog sat right here. I had a nice bottle of beer, and the dog just kind of fell asleep. Very comfortable. Here's that terrific view out the sides. This is really nice. We were a little nervous at first about not having much view out to what would be our camping side, but we're going to be outside there. And I don't know that we really need to see it. And we do have this. We can see out if we really need to. So we got the big TV, which was wonderful last night. We have the fireplace, which is decorative. Currently, I didn't turn the heat on. I just turned the picture on. And then we got the big fridge freezer and a microwave. And it's just a regular microwave, not a convection, because we have a real oven down here. And today, I ordered a pizza stone to fit right there, because these little ovens are really temperamental. They like to, there's not a lot of distance. The heat's coming here, and it's just going to burn the bottom of everything. Pizza stone kind of evens all that out, mitigates it a little bit. These burners are wonderful. Just put out all kinds of heat. You just do that, and then that, and boom, there it is. So we got 3 of those. This is a nice, solid grate. It's cast iron. That's really nice. I have a range hood. This was something that I'm glad we did the walkthrough and I paid attention, because I thought I knew everything, but I'd never had a range hood before. And before you use this, it won't do anything unless you go outside. There's a little rubber flap that you have to disconnect from the side of the trailer so the air can get out. And I think it just sits there so bugs aren't coming in and things like that. But you got to remember to do that, or it's not going to do you any good. Nice deep sinks. These are wonderfully deep sinks. Look at that. Got 2 of those. And we got this fancy schmancy thing. I don't have the water pump on right now, so that's just residual pressure. But this is, this is one of these dealies out. Comes out and does the spray bar and all that, which is really nifty. And this is our chintzy little clock that has dropped and broken a zillion times. I'm going to replace it. I have a very nice clock that I made myself that I'm going to put right there. Really pretty clock. Once I get that installed, maybe I'll add that to another video, because I'm kind of proud of it. Made it all by myself. Kind of invented the whole thing. This is instead of the dinette, which the convertible to a lousy bed. This is some light reading that I'm going to have to go through. I figured most of the TV out, but these things, now this stuff, I didn't really like having this central control, but it seems like it doesn't do very much. It's not even Blu-ray, which is not a problem. We put a Blu-ray right back there. That's what we did last night. Blu-ray player is $45 now, so no big deal. But what was interesting, I put a USB stick in here to listen to some music. It turned on the TV, and it put up a guide of all the albums and each song in the album, so I could actually go through the thing and pick the songs I want. You generally don't get that with a USB drive. You just have to sit and listen to them in order. So that was really cool. I really, really thought that was a surprise, and I really liked it. Tons of storage up here. I could say sleeps 2.5. You could put a child up there. Get them up there easy. Now they probably screech a little bit. You know how kids are. This is neat. This is a motion sensing light. That was really handy last night. I was sitting here watching TV. I didn't want that light blaring and glaring, but when I'd get up and it would turn on when I come towards the door, that was a really handy thing. Very happy with that. And then these lights, I've never seen this before, and I'm happy to have it. These lights, you hold this little finger on this little guy right here, and these lights dim. How about that? Anyway, we were talking about all the stuff I need to read, and I got on the subject of the TV. Oven is pretty straightforward. Well, the stovetop is. The oven, interestingly enough, this little piezo clicker only works on the cooktops, not down here. So if you want to light the oven, you got to do it with a lighter, which is no big pain. But I mean, how hard? Why would they not put another piezo clicker down in the oven? I have no idea. I'm sure there's some reason that's somewhat valid. Anyway, that's the instructions for the oven. This is the instructions for that fancy little radio dealie we were just talking about. This is for the fireplace. We've got the fuse panel, which is really, that's kind of hands off. Don't do anything with that. These things, it took me a second to figure out what these are. These are the heating pads for the water tanks. I have I have fresh water, 2 gray waters, and a black water, and all of them have heating pads on them. That's for the microwave, which actually I'm going to have to read that just to figure out how to turn the damn thing on. So lots and lots of stuff to read up on here. This is the in command. I've already got, that's actually, to be honest, the in command is pretty intuitive, but what they've done, because there's an optional second air conditioner that we didn't buy, when I come on here and I say I want to deal with the HVAC, that's this guy, the first thing it gives me is the front optional, the one we don't have, which is irritating because every time I want to do something with the air conditioner we do have, I got to make sure that I've kicked it over to the rear AC. So I'm going to get in the instructions. There's got to be a way of configuring this. Somebody configured this. It didn't come this way from the factory because every trailer is different. It wouldn't make any sense. So the first thing to do is get rid of that optional air conditioner, which we're probably never going to buy. It was 90 some degrees here yesterday, and we just had this is the 15,000 BTU, and it did okay. You open this dump valve and it cooled this area very quickly. It just pours out of there. If you close this, it starts using these regular vents, and that's what's going to duct it up to the bedroom. And it took quite a while for the bedroom to cool off. So there's the vent right there. So it took a while. So with the second air conditioner, you obviously would be able to get this down to meat freezer temperature, which I'm not sure that's viable either or valuable. But that's something we can just drop it in later. It's got a cheesy little vent in it right now. The vent doesn't even have a fan. So that would just get taken out and we would dump the air conditioner in. It's already wired for it. It's why we have 50 amp wiring. So if we ever want to do it, we still can. That's a nice thing. Probably ought to figure out what that button means. Oh, okay. It's for the disco lights. Yeah, okay. Point of that, I really don't see. All right, so there's a very quick walkthrough. Oh, talking about storage space. Look at that. All kinds of room in it. Of course, I think that's the water pump. Oh no, those are cupboards. I know where the water pump is, isn't it? So you can even get a vacuum cleaner. We got a little vacuum cleaner in there already. My wife likes to get the cleaning stuff in right away. She really likes to keep up with the cleaning. So there you go. So for today, I think my goal today is get the in command. I had trouble with the outdoor grill. I could not get the outdoor grill. As a matter of fact, during a walkthrough, the walkthrough guy could not get the outdoor grill to work either. And he's like, well, it worked this morning. I don't know why it's not working now. He never did get it working. I came out this morning and diddled around with it and just couldn't get it to go. And what had happened was down here at that plug-in, that little valve lever right there, that little black lever, had gotten bumped, and so the gas had been turned off, which is why the gas burner wouldn't work. It makes a lot of sense. And I verified that I was getting gas simply by turning on the water heater, and I could hear the water heater light up. So I knew I was getting gas through there. So got that working this morning. It was no big deal. Here's a little refrigerator I think we'd get more use of if we put it inside, honestly. I don't know what I'm going to keep out here. But I will cook out here because the range hood, I talked about that little flappy gappy thing. That's this little guy right here. You have to reach up in here and loosen this little door so the range hood will work. But as far as I'm concerned, anything that needs the range hood that's creating that kind of smoke and grease, I probably ought to be doing out here anyway. And this thing is stainless steel. I anticipate these cleaning up pretty easily. There's a nice drip tray under here. This is a really nice grill. I'm really impressed with it. It gets so hot that they had to put it in this galvanized metal. They wanted to put it in wood because it's lighter and maybe a bit cheaper, but they couldn't do it. It just gets too damn hot. So check the speed rating on my tires. They're M rated, which makes me good up to I think 82 miles an hour, which should be plenty. God, I would hope. I mean, dragging it yesterday, 65 miles an hour, I'm getting 8 miles to the gallon. So I just can't see really cruising down the highway to 80 in this thing. Just don't want to pay for the gas. Oh, this is nice too. These are new. These stairs. So these come down as a single unit, and then these feet are adjustable. I had to adjust this one down a little bit, and these things, they're rock solid. They don't have that little bounce. You kind of get used to that bounce when you go in. It just doesn't do that. They're rock solid. But they didn't do that up here. This is, I guess, a secondary door, probably not your primary door. Although, I think we're going to have to start using this front door instead of a back door so we don't wear a path through my yard. But this one is just your standard. It just comes on out and flips on down. And that gets you into the bedroom. Now this, you can feel a little spring in that bottom step. Now this is a big heavy trailer. That's not the trailer springing. That's just because that's light steel and aluminum. It's going to bounce around a little bit. I had the awning out yesterday. It comes out a little bit over the shed, so I couldn't get it all the way out, but we did get the awning out yesterday, and it's very, very nice. These speakers, they're waterproof marine speakers. First of all, they're too close together to get any kind of stereo, and they're also not very loud. They're just, I found them to be kind of, I don't know, just kind of weak. They're just not super, but then again, we don't need a whole lot of loud music. It just pisses people off, and I don't listen to it that way anyway. This is my nice pass-through. This is my first time having a big, decent pass-through, and it goes all the way back in there. Lots of room in there. This is the in command. This is the in command brain. So if that little touchpad in the camper stops working for whatever reason, I can come out here and take this panel off, and I can move the slide and the awning just by pushing a switch. So you still be able to do that. And of course, I could crank them out manually, but that'd be kind of stupid because it'd take a long, long time and be a royal pain in the butt. So there we go. That's the pass through. Got the slam latch. Whoops. Guess you have to help it along there a little bit. Everything's still like these doors. We're having to slam them pretty hard to get them closed. I suspect that kind of stuff loosens up with use. So here's our front window. This is the window. You saw this in the bedroom, and looking at it, you really can't tell it's a window, and you really can't see much of anything through it, which is a good thing. So that's also very nice. I got my 60 pounds of propane. 60 pounds of propane. Two 30-pound tanks. Those are gonna be a bitch to move around, to be honest. The auto leveler got it as you would expect, nice and level. It takes about, it probably took 3 or 4 minutes. It's very slow about it. It thinks about it and tries other things. Anyway, and it puts the tongue jack back up for me. When I want to hitch up again, I just tell it, hey, go back to the last thing you remember before you leveled, and it'll put that ball height right down where I need it to be, right where it was when I took the Durango away from it. So that's pretty neat. And it's so much easier to level when you just push a button and walk away. I mean, it gets it down to 0.0 degrees. It's perfectly level. Absolutely thrilled with the auto level. That's the greatest thing. So we got like gutter drains up there. This is how far the slide comes out. It's a pretty healthy slide. Cable driven slide, which is a little more expensive, but supposedly lighter and pretty reliable, and allows you to put the slide out partial distances and things like that. I'm going to read up on that. This is the docking station, which I'm not currently carrying the key for, and it's probably locked. This is how we hook up to shore water and fancy stuff like that. I'm not carrying my keys right now. I'm sorry, you're not even looking at that. Then we got this little solar thing, and I'd probably use this if solar panels weren't so damn expensive. I mean, it's charging up my battery. Well, the power I've paid for from the campground will do that. And I suppose if we were out boondocking, it might come in handy, because at that point we would be on a generator, and the generator requires gasoline, and you don't want to be running out buying gasoline all the damn time. So here's our massive slide. It's only one slide on the whole thing, but it's a doozy. I really, really like it. And then back here is where we're plugged in. I got 2 gray tanks, like I mentioned. This is one of them. The other is, this is the bathroom gray tank. And then under here, and this is a very awkward location, but what are you gonna do? There's the other gray tank. That's for the, that'll be for, what is that for? Is that the bathroom? No, that's the kitchen sink. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That'll be the kitchen. So getting down under there would be a real treat. But I mean, they're big, and I'm not gonna have to empty them all that often. Fancy new, this is nice. I like the handle on this, the power cord. I've never had one with that kind of a grip on there. I really like that. That's 50 amp. Getting 50 amp to household required kind of a dog's breakfast of adapters, getting everything plugged in so I could get the household current in there. But I had most of the stuff. All I had to buy was the 30 to 50, and that's good. Now we got a nice hitch back here, hitch point, and that's where the generator will go. I have a little plug-in cargo hauler that we would use for the Durango. I'll drop the generator on that if we ever take it, or if and when we take it with us. There's a nice ladder up to the top that I wish I'd never have to use, but you got to get there and clean the thing. There's the backup camera that doesn't work. The camera itself works. I plugged it into the power control by the screen, which is, to test it, and it works just fine. So that mount was installed by Keystone, and it's got a power wire that just isn't doing anything. It's just not getting any power to the camera. So I'm gonna have to try to figure that out, which kind of irritates me, because I started backing up this driveway, and my plan was to stop halfway up, install the camera, and use the camera to get back through this kind of an awkward turn, and I had to do without that. So, and I did manage to do it. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I paid for it. It was $200, and I want it to work. So that's another project. I used to know what's in here. there is something. Oh, that's for cable and satellite. If you have a satellite or a cable connection at your campsite, I guess I could run one from the house if I wanted to. That's how that gets into the TV. And of course it comes out inside, and then it also gets pushed out here. It's one of these, probably this one. Yeah, there it is. So if you wanted to have, one of these people wants to have an outside TV, you can do it. You just have to carry the TV outside. And given that current TVs weigh 10 to 15 pounds, that's not that big of a deal. So here's the water heater. It's the typical suburban water heater, which means I still have to deal with anode rods every year or so, which is not that big of a deal now that I know to depressurize the tank before removing it. This climate guard thing, that is, they've gotten some kind of certification. This thing was actually tested to 0 degrees, from 0 degrees to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, to make sure the pipes didn't freeze, the tanks didn't freeze, etc., etc. And they've added all kinds of new insulation, and they've got this big belly pan under here. Everything is enclosed. They run the water lines, they run them alongside the heating ducts, so they're getting some secondary off of that. And I think these are outlets. These are 110 outlets or 115, whatever you call them. A couple outlets there. That's for the furnace. So the furnace is right in there under the refrigerator. That's the exhausted refrigerator. That's the range fan. This is the outdoor shower, which we never really use or haven't ever really used, but I can kind of see at least washing sand off your feet or washing off the dogs or whatever. So we have that. Just one more thing to remember to do when it comes time to winterize. So that's it. That's the walk around. And I'm going to get busy learning some of the systems and probably spend a night out here, either tonight or tomorrow night. We got to get we have a lot of stuff coming from Amazon today. We have a mattress pad and everything for the bed. So that'll be all set up by tonight. And I'll have those screens to block the light into these doors because it gets so bright. So that's the plan. Now this is a little irritating. I'm up on top of the trailer. I wanted to clean the skylight. This is the skylight to the shower. But all that grunge right there, that's inside, and this thing is gooped down. There's no way of removing it, and I don't know if I can get at it from the inside up through the shower, but it looks like that's all glued shut. So I guess we're always just going to have kind of a grimy looking sunroof. This is an old road, a very old bridge. This bridge was built before there, I think in the late 1800s, and it aged fairly well, but cars kept getting heavier and heavier, trucks got heavier and heavier, and they finally have closed it. They did some work on it on 2012 to shore up the walls and the planks and everything, but it just can't really support modern day traffic. So they've closed it off and they've made it basically a bike lane. And this is crossing the creek that runs right alongside my dad's farm where we're camping. So his land is up that way. And I came up here to see if maybe I could do some fishing, but the water is far too shallow, at least as far as I know, for anything but minnows and worms. I guess I don't know what you'd catch in water this shallow. That glare is going to make it hard to see, but maybe on the other side here. It's very clear water, so you can see right down through it. You see the rocks down there, so that's how shallow it is all the way across. It's very scenic though, I gotta give it that. Now there's a spot up by one of his southern fields, his south field, where I can get down there and the water kind of collects. It's a few feet deep, and you can catch bluegill. I actually caught a pretty big bass down there once. It was a hell of a surprise. But it's further upstream here, and it's hard to get to right now because the weeds are as tall as they ever get. This is the end of the summer and the weeds are as big as they're going to get. But because I can't fish here, I'm probably going to see if I can machete my way down to the water down there. So it's about a mile walk back, so I'm going to get started. So coming back from the bridge, you can see Gettysburg, Ohio, which is very small. They have a gas station, pizza place, and I think a branch of the Greenville National Bank. They call it the Greenville National Bank, but I really doubt if you can find one in South LA or Chicago or pretty much any place but Greenville, Ohio. So this is basically the bike trail now. This land right here adjoins to my dad's farm. My grandparents bought, this is a tiny little strip of land that just sits between this road and one of their farm fields, and there's a little creek running through it. And my grandparents bought it and planted all these trees. These were all new plants. This thing was just empty, and they planted all these trees. This was obviously decades ago. It's way overgrown now. Personally, I would like to own this little strip right here and put myself a little concrete slab in there and just park my camper in there and boondock. I think that would be a great spot. It's very quiet, very dark. Really neat place to be. I think my brother probably owns that now, and there's pretty much no hope of getting it away from him. But it's a nice idea. Something nice to think about. It's US 36 blowing by. I don't know how far it goes, but I do know this. The motel we stayed at in Estes Park, Colorado was on US 36. So it would be a horribly slow way to get there, but you could do it from here without ever leaving the US 36. This is the driveway back down to where we're camping alongside my father's house. And as we go by this pole up here, you're going to see this horse leaning against, kind of looking troublesome. He looks like a bad horse, but he's leaning against this pole up here. And he gets repainted every year. He gets repainted with the colors of the stable that won the Kentucky Derby this year. So I don't know who that is, but I knew at the time, but I don't remember because I don't care. But that's what this guy is painted up as, the 2018 Kentucky Derby winner. Now he's had his elbows on there. His elbows have been knocked off any number of times. Wide truck, careless driver, sometimes both. They keep knocking it off of there, and my dad keeps holding it back on there. He's not going to give up. All right, so we're going to continue our walk down the driveway. Well, there's the race horses. One of those is a retiree. I'm not sure about the other. And then down in the pasture, the other pasture, he's got a female that's still currently actively racing. These are retirees, just like me. Here they're going to come see us. They get lonely. Yes, they probably think I have food. Oh, he's coming to see me. Let's see how close he gets. Let's see if he comes up. Come on, buddy. Come give us a visit. Here they come. They're retired race horses, so they don't do anything quickly. I no sooner say it. Look at him go. Oh, I didn't mean to malign you. There we go. Hello there. Hello there. Who are you? Hey, there you go. He's a nice boy. He's a nice boy, aren't you? Where's the old guy? There's the old guy right here. Who wants to get pet? Anybody? Nobody wants to get pet? Okay. Oh, you do? Okay, there you go. You're a nice boy. Who's a nice boy? Yes, he's a nice guy. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on, fellas. I keep the Durango out here where we can get at it because we go into town for food or whatever, and we'll probably make a little trip tomorrow. Just a little recreation. But we just kind of scoochy right between here. Scoochy is a camping term in case you've never heard it. I don't want to get too, complicated for you. And we get 110 volt. We get household current out of there. I got the hose plugged in. We got the awning out. The slide is out. The slide is out, and it has an absolutely terrific view. This is the view from the slide. Not bad at all, eh? So through the windows I can see the back of my wife's head. I can go up here and slap the wall and scare the crap out of her, but I'm not going to do it because I doubt if she would take that in the spirit intended. And that's actually pretending that the spirit would be benign. So this is a very, very old tree. Been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. And he's got a buddy here that's probably a prodigy? No, that's not right. Progeny? Grandson? Son? Relative? Ancestor? Something like that. He's not quite as big, but he's been here probably since the Civil War also. This field was soybeans this year, and they were just harvested a week or two ago. All that green out there, those are beans that got dropped by the combine and are now sprouting into new soybean plants, which won't survive the winter. Overachievers with false confidence. They're doomed. So what we call the falls are right down here around the corner. And this corner right here is where I would really like to bring the trailer down here and boondock. I never did that with my small trailer, which would have fit easily. I don't know about the bigger trailer, whether I really want to bring it down here. It's, well, right now I couldn't because there's a tree blocking what little pass there is. That branch would have to come off. I don't know if it's a good idea to bring it down here or not, but it's such a wonderful spot. This is where we used to tent camp. And this is where I decided I don't want to tent camp anymore because I don't like getting up covered in moisture and, it's just, yeah, sticky. And we were doing it in the dead of summer. It was miserably hot and then miserably sticky cold. And these weeds, these used to all get cut back when we used this area, but we don't use it anymore. So nobody bothers to cut it back, and that's perfectly fine. It just comes back in here. I have a dog buried back here. I had a little husky mix that used to love plane down here, and she's buried right under that tree, or her ashes anyway. She got cremated. So this is the top of the falls, and this too is going to be way too shallow for fishing. But what happens down here is the course of the water changes through the years. This used to all be underwater, and you can see that that did too. And there's the rapid part out there. And where we used to be able to catch fish, like there was no, I mean, you couldn't not catch a fish. If you tossed a line in there, you caught a bluegill every single time. And I actually caught a pretty big bass out of there once, which we didn't even think there were fish that big in there. I was a little bit surprised. But that little backwater right there used to be deeper and come in further. And that's where the fish like to cover. They get down in there and just kind of hunker down, and anything that came in there, they ate it. I don't know if they still do that because I really can't get down there anymore. These are not easy weeds to get past. These are like rose bushes. They have thorns all over them. There's poison ivy. There's all kinds of bad stuff down here. So it's not quite as easy to get to as it used to be, as much as I'd like to come down here. In the winter, all this clears out in the winter, but of course in the winter I'm not going to stand here and watch the ice. Or ice fish, I don't know. But there's not much to do down here in the winter, let's put it that way. But such a nice little area, very relaxing. At the risk, and it is a substantial risk because the penalties are harsh, I walked down here to get a better look. Now the risk is I'm going to get mud on my shoes, and I might track some of that mud into the camper, and that is verboten. I should not do that. So I have to. The trick is just remembering. I don't want to track mud into the camper. Sometimes I just forget that I've got it on me, but I might be able to get over there, but I don't know if that water is as deep as it used to be or if there'll be any fish in it. It's free to try though, so my license is good for another 2 months. Might as well try it. I don't know if you can see, look how clear that water is. It's surprising for a creek of this nature for that water to be that clear. Look at that, you can see right down through it. And it's so clear, in fact, that I can tell you that there's not a fish in it, or I'd be able to see them. Out there, right out there, it's a little bit deeper, and I think if I cast out there, I might be able to catch something. Find out later tonight. I don't think I'm going to come down here in the morning because it's going to be really cold. It's going to be about 30 degrees, 32 degrees, 33 degrees, something like that. I'll come down here this evening, maybe a little bit later, and try it. What I'm worried about is being down here until it gets really dark. If I'm down here when it's dark, I can have a hell of a time getting back, because there's where I had to come through. I had to come through all that stuff. It's like a jungle, isn't it? Don't know if you can hear me over the breeze, but this is the opposite view. So this is our view from the camper, looking back at the camper. So you can see that nice big slide with all those windows. That's really the central point of the whole thing, is just that wide open slide with all that glass. Makes it so bright inside, and you just get, I mean, in a case like this, normally you'd be looking at another camper, but when you bring it out to someplace like here, you just got this expansive view. It's just terrific. I just love it. Very, very happy with the thing. Oh, I didn't really talk much about the trip out. It was about an hour and 45 minutes. It usually takes me an hour and a half, but that's in a car. I was solidly at 65 at 70. The speed limit's 70 most of the way. I stayed at 65. About 98% of the trucks passed me because they were doing 70. The 2% that didn't pass me, I had to pass because they were doing like 52 or 53, which is crazy. Everything went well. We got 8.5 miles per gallon across an hour and a half driving, around 45 minutes of driving. I had been planning at 8, and I think I'll continue to plan at 8. And if I get an 8.5, that's just bonus. I'm always impressed by the number of shells down here. Look at all the shells. They're not big. I mean, they're not beach, ocean-sized shells, but there's a lot of them. So I can collect shells because I don't think I'm going to catch any fish. I, for some stupid reason, didn't bring a bobber. I really just want to hang a piece of live bait a couple inches under the water with a bobber, but I'll try this. It's an artificial lure. He's probably going to sink. He's probably going to get snagged. But it's the lightest one I have, and the water is so shallow. But it's rocky, so it may catch some leaves. I don't think it'll get stuck entirely, but I don't think it's going to catch a fish. But you know, fishing is really about standing by the water and dreaming about catching a fish. You don't really have to catch one. There we go. We'll give it a try. I'm going to apologize right now to people that know how to fish, because this is going to drive you nuts. I didn't bring any bobbers. I wanted to use better bait. I want to use these little gulp shads. I'm I'm just gonna hang one on the bottom of my lure here and see if that'll wake anybody up. So like I said, if you know how to fish, this is probably like craziness, probably driving you nuts. Don't do that, that's stupid. What are you wasting your time for? I'm gonna do it anyway. Until I can find somebody to give me fishing lessons, I'm just gonna make it up as I go. Presumably they mean to the top of these steps. Tin peddler. No peddlers. Just let that sink in. I can't decide if this is a dog or a horse. I guess a horse. Pretty sure that's a giraffe though. Big, big, big giraffe.
Overall, we had a great time. But they just got us all.
Okay, everything's small. It was pretty cold last night. I think it got down below 30 degrees was the forecast, and it's hard to see because of the way the shadow is, but where it's still in the shade, you can see the frost. And that is making this particular job not much fun at all. That hose, when it's cold like this, fortunately some of it's already coiled because the rest of it's gonna be a little bit stiff and hard to fit into that bin. But it's a beautiful morning, just gorgeous morning. It's probably about 38, 40 degrees right now. I'm kind of getting cold. My feet are getting wet. A lot of dew where the frost was, it's wet. But this is camping. It's the way it's supposed to be. It's gorgeous. It's quiet. I think I can hear one car some dozen miles away or so. Awfully nice place to stay. Now this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Although I have it on good authority that the guy that invented sliced bread said this is the greatest thing since a backup camera with a dashed line that shows you exactly where your trailer ball is going to line up with your trailer hitch. That's a wonderful thing. I swear I could not be happier right now. Well, we were all packed up, hooked up, ready to go, and I took a final walk around and discovered with the bottom of my shoe where the dogs had been pooping. Excellent time. We get to ride home with that smell. That'll be wonderful. But here we are, ready to go. This is the end of our first away trip.